Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to be taking a look at this, the Odyssey Intergalactic Driver Overdrive from Hamstead Soundworks. Hamstead are a small boutique company based in Cambridge in the UK. They make amazing amplifiers that a lot of people love, and their signature tremolo pedal is outstanding as well. So I was very interested to hear that they'd made an overdrive. Usually if I'm demoing an OD pedal, I will say 30 seconds about what it's about, play through it for 5 minutes, job done. But this is such a versatile pedal capable of so many amazing sounds that I'm going to have to do a much more in-depth review of it to do it justice. So without further ado, here we go. So I'll just talk through a few key details of this pedal before I start playing. Top mount jacks, which is great for fitting it onto a pedal board. 9-volt power with a 55 milliamp power draw. It's true bypass, it has an opto-kick foot switch from the guys at the GigRig, which is brilliant. And inside the pedal there are 2 dip switches, so you can select whether when you power your pedal up, you want it to be on or off. Which is great if you are using a switching system, you want it to be always on and bring it in and out with a looper. You don't have to kick it on every time you turn your board on. The best way of thinking about this pedal is it's 2 sides and 1 enclosure. So you have your clipping side and your EQ side. The gain and the tone are the clipping side, and the bass, treble and level are just the EQ side. You have an input multiplier here, so at the moment we're in ×1 mode, but you can have ×2 and ×5. You have 3 clipping circuits to affect this side of the pedal, and a mode selector here. So at first here we're in just EQ mode, so there's no clipping circuit in the pedal at all. These are active EQs, they add 18 dB of boost or cut to your signal. So in ×1 mode, the level set just over 9 o'clock is unity, and as you'll hear, it doesn't affect the sound in any way. I'm running 2 amps today, a Hughes and Kettner Pure Tone combo and a Cornell Romany Plus, which together sound like this. There may be a tiny bit more clarity coming through as I turn it on, but that's only because the pedal's acting as a buffer. So as I said, we can add 18 dB of boost or cut using just the EQ here. At the moment, the input multiplier is at ×1, so this is kind of as loud as it goes. If we put it into ×2 mode, it will now be a lot louder. And ×5, much louder. So we can now use the pedal as a completely clean boost into the amplifier to kick the front end and get some drive going on. What I'll do now is switch from clean boost mode into post mode, and what this means is the EQ circuit is after the overdrive. We have 3 different clipping circuits in this pedal. We have C1, which is a symmetrical clipping circuit, so similar to a tube screamer. C2, which is asymmetrical, much more dynamic and punchy because it only affects half of the sound. And C3, which is using 2 different clipping circuits to create a saturated but still very dynamic tone. So I'll just flick between these 3 here with everything else set to 12 o'clock. The output level of these 3 circuits is very different, so I will have to compensate with the level as I go along. And of course, in addition to the gain control, we also have the input multiplier, so we can increase the gain using this switch here times 2 or times 5. The tone control on the drive side affects the amount of treble frequencies in the overdrive signal. And of course we can then use the 18 dB EQ to shape that sound even further. So by having the EQ after the drive circuit, the EQ doesn't affect the gain at all, it just shapes the sound. The opposite is true though if we switch into pre-mode, and now we can use these 18 dB boost of bass and treble to punch into the overdrive circuit and make our low or high frequencies compress even more. So it gives a very different sound to using the EQ afterwards. So by doing that and using these EQs as boosts into the clipping circuit, we can do things like make this treble knob act as a treble booster, and we can really push those bright frequencies into compression and create very different sounds. So in the manual for the Odyssey, Hamstead gives some suggested settings to mimic the sounds of other pedals on the market. So what I'm going to do now is compare the Odyssey to other pedals and see how close we can get them to sound. So this is Hamstead's suggested setting for a TS style drive, and here I have an original Boss OD1, which was the first ever TS circuit, so I'm going to see how closely they compare. Pretty close. This is their medium gain rock setting, so I'm going to compare this against an original Marshall Guv'nor pedal. finally, their saturated fuzz setting. So I'm going to compare this to a Germanium Jam Pedals fuzz phrase. So the Odyssey doesn't clean up quite as well as the Germanium fuzz pedal does, but yeah, they're pretty close. So there we go, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you enjoyed this demo. As I'm sure you'll agree, this is an incredibly versatile overdrive pedal to be able to get everything from clean boost, dirty boost, mid-pushed overdrive, light gain, heavy gain, fuzz, all in one box is incredibly impressive. It's been said that this is the all-analog equivalent of things like the Strymon, Riverside and Sunset pedals, and I really do agree. It's spectacular. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.